All right, let's start things off with a look at the Object Selection tool, which is a brand new tool inside Photoshop 2020. And so here I am looking at a photograph that I captured of my wife, Colleen, obviously underwater. And let's say that I want to separate Colleen from her background. Well, one way to work would be to grab the Quick Selection tool, which, as you may know, is an automated selection brush that is not particularly quick. And so notice if I start brushing inside of Colleen's body, that I select quite a large area, but I haven't managed to select her left arm right here, her right arm, of course, nor have I selected this hand on the right side of the image. And so here we are 3 brush strokes later, and I still have yet to select the face. So I'll go ahead and drag across it. Brush stroke number 5 allows me to select into the top region of the hair. A 6th brush stroke gets that piece of the hair a little bit too much, actually. So I'll undo that last brush stroke and try again. And now notice that I haven't managed to select the entire fin, and so I'll go ahead and drag over it. And so here we are with Colleen mostly selected after a total of 7 brush strokes. Now let's compare that to the Object Selection tool. And to get to it, I'll click and hold on the Quick Selection tool to bring up this flyout menu. That includes the familiar Magic Wand tool, as well as the new Object Selection tool. All right, so I'll press Control D or Command D on the Mac in order to deselect the image, and then I'll press Control 0. That would be Command 0 on the Mac to zoom out slightly so that we can see a little bit of dark gray outside the canvas. And now, by default, all you have to do is drag in order to create a rectangular marquee. And that marquee behaves just the same as the one associated with the rectangular marquee tool, meaning that you can press and hold the space bar in order to move the marquee on the fly. And now I'll just go ahead and drag down to here and notice that I'm at least encompassing everything that I want to select, after which point I'll release. And then a moment later, Photoshop generates this selection outline right here. And so in other words, it's a lot quicker than the Quick Selection tool. Now notice up here in the options bar that you have 2 shape options. So you can either draw a rectangle or you can draw a freeform lasso. And to see what that looks like, I'll go ahead and select lasso. And then I'll press the escape key so that that option is no longer active here under Windows. That's not necessary on the Mac. Then I'll press Control D or Command D on the Mac in order to deselect the image. And I'll just go ahead and draw a freeform selection outline like that. And notice that Photoshop automatically generates a selection inside the lassoed region. And this goes for the rectangle option as well. And so Photoshop is going to stay more or less, not exactly, but more or less inside the area that you encompassed. All right, I'm going to press Control D or Command D on the Mac in order to deselect the image once again, so I can show you one more option that's available to you. If you want to access the polygonal lasso function, then press and hold the Alt key here on the PC or the Option key on the Mac. Keep that key down and then just start clicking around the image like so. And so that is a function of Alt or Option clicking. This is a hidden feature of the software. All right, so as soon as you're done, just go ahead and release the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac, and you'll go ahead and automatically generate a selection outline. All right, I want to bring your attention to a couple of other options. Again, up here in the options bar, you have this checkbox, Sample All Layers. That is going to look at the composite image. That is the contents of each and every visible layer. In my case, I'm working on a flat JPEG file, so it's not going to make any difference, but that is an option that's available to you, and it's a familiar option from other tools. We also have an Auto Enhance checkbox. If you turn that on, you're going to generate a slightly smoother selection outline. It's not going to be all that different, by the way. Just a little smoothing is going to be added on top, and it's going to be added to the next selection outline you draw. In other words, I'm not affecting this selection. If I do want to affect this selection, let me show you how that works. I'm going to switch over to the Channels panel over here. And by the way, I'm seeing large thumbnails because I right-clicked underneath the list of channels and selected large. And so I'll just go ahead and save this selection outline as an alpha channel. And so you can see that anywhere that's selected is white, anywhere that's deselected is black. And so if I were to double click on this guy's name, I'll call it auto off, let's say, meaning that the auto enhance checkbox is turned off. Now I'll return to the RGB composite image and press Control D or Command D on the Mac. This time around, auto enhance is turned on, and I will once again Alt or Option click. That is, I've got the Alt key down or the Option key on the Mac, as I click around the image to create a polygonal lasso, like so. Then I'll release the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac to complete the selection. I'll go ahead and save this guy out, but this time, because I want to name it as I save it, I'll Alt or Option click on this Save Selection icon. And that'll force the display of the new channel dialog box, and I'll go ahead and call this guy Auto On this time around and click OK. Press Control D or Command D on the Mac in order to deselect the image. I'll go ahead and zoom in here on a detail, such as this hose right here. This is what the selection outline looks like when the Auto Enhance checkbox is turned off. This is what it looks like when Auto Enhance is turned on. See the difference right there? It's really subtle, but notice that we have some smoothing. So this is auto off. We have slightly more corner definition, and this is the result of turning Auto Enhance on. So it's a very subtle distinction indeed. All right, just one more thing I want to show you. I'll return to the RGB image, and I'll show you that the keyboard shortcut is still W for these tools. W for wand, that is. And so if you want to switch between these tools, then you press Shift W. So notice that Shift W returns me to the quick selection tool. Pressing Shift W again gets me the magic wand tool. And then Shift W a third time gets me the object selection tool. And that is how you work with the new object selection tool here inside Photoshop 2020.